Hello, my name's Keith, and I'm known as a Florida Stone Man, and I have a giant moth in my car, so if you see it fly in my face, don't freak out. But get straight into this video. We're going to be talking about your brain. And I'm going to talk about this more and more because I've been studying this for a long time. I have every crystal in the world almost, and a whole bunch more that I'm able to learn from, so I have a whole bunch of knowledge from past lives as well. And let's just say every universe has its own computer. The universe is a computer and a robot. And essentially the human body is a brain and a robot. We're just spirits inside flesh. So yes, I'm seeing different organisms, insects basically fly in my car, such as moths, but we're just a robot with a spirit inside of it. If you think about it, that's why ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I'm going to start this video off with a very, very, very strong point. On Resurrection Day, you ever think about how God's going to resurrect us? Some of us have been cremated. How is that possible? It's because it's just reassembling the robot. It's maybe even reassembling a new robot. Look what science is doing already. Does it surprise you they're already cloning people? You think God can't do that? You think God's not the one who came up with that? You can just get cloned a new body when you go to heaven. A better body, a more youthful body. So, same thing in hell. You get a new one too, but you get to suffer with it. So, let's talk about this right now. This human body is incredibly advanced. And the human body is just full of signals. So, if you study science and biology, I have a degree in biology. And it took me a very long time to really understand, like, just different signals that go off. Because we study it, and it's just on to the next chapter. I'm like, no, wait. So, literally, you're watching it. I mean, I'd like everyone to do this right now. Raise your hand like this. Most of you, 99.9% of you can raise your hand. The other percent, selenite. If you guys know what I'm actually talking about, selenite for that 1%. 0.01% work with selenite. Okay? You guys know what I'm talking about. You know someone who's at 0.01% work with selenite, thank me after. But the thing is, when you are someone who can just tell your body to raise the hand, your brain told your hand to raise it. The crystals in your brain, because we have crystals in our brain, might freak some people out. You have crystals in your mouth. You have crystals in your mouth. Your bones are crystalline structure, or something resembling crystalline structure. It's mainly minerals. What do we see in the ground? Minerals. So that's the thing. We're composed of minerals, and some of our minerals up here, some of the minerals over here, frequencies. That's why when you are mineral deficit, that the frequencies are interfered with, and you have, like, for example, people who can't do this very easily, or it takes a second. It's because they're lacking a certain mineral, which affects the frequency being given up. Let's get away from science for a second and just translate this straight to spirituality, because this is a spiritual video, but I'm giving you scientific examples that are like in basic textbooks of science. But and I've been studying this a lot more, because there are some people who can attract wealth and abundance, and then some people who do it sporadically. They don't know how they're doing it, but there's some people who have mastered it, and I've been studying it from everyone who's ever mastered it 100%, because the nature of wealth and abundance is not always predictable, because you rely on planets, circumstances, because stocks, for example, are never the same. You can have $500,000 in stocks, but it'll go up and down, and it's like, what's going on? So if you're trying to, like, study how you can't do anything else, I'm gonna give you the secret right now. It's just your brain. It's just your brain. Everything outside of you is just an extension. Your brain is, because, people want to attract money, or you want to attract a $100 bill, you'll attract it. You want to attract a bunch, you're attracting the vibration of it plus the paper aspect of it. But if you'd like to achieve more, you have to realize, okay, you're attracting something that's outside of you. Are you attracting more so the paper element? Are you attracting more the lifestyle behind the paper element? Like, really think about it. And I've taught videos about this in the past week very in depth, because I'm studying this very in depth. So, and even in the Bible, it talks about 7 times shall pass by until I realizes the Most High is sovereign over all kingdoms, and he will give them to anyone who he pleases. So, you ever think about it? It says God can give you all these riches and wealth and in his kingdoms, and you're waiting for it, and you've asked for it in prayer, but you're not. It feels like you're not being answered. This video is a prayer answer to a lot of people. The thing is, the Lord is waiting for you guys to figure out how to use your brain. I'm not being insulting, but he literally teaches it in the Bible, the power of the tongue, the power of the mind. So when it comes to the aspect of your brain, you have to understand your brain's a money tool. You attract money to you simply because your brain. I'm going to tell you right now, people in the afterlife are attracting money to them and they're not alive. That means them in the afterlife, there are people who are dead. There are people in a grave getting checks right now. Big checks, giant checks. So those people in their graves are making bank. Like big time money because of the belief that they held. That when they went into the next world, the belief is still there. The moth is flying right up close to me. It's not going near the light, it's going near me. So I know this is, I'm going to try to show you guys a moth. I'm not trying to touch its wings, but that means the intuition's on point. Oh, here you go. You can land on me. I'm going to show the viewers. People are like, oh, I'm scared of moths. It's just a butterfly. Oh, my ring moved when I touched it. What the? Okay, just not a regular moth then. But, it's a frequency moth. My angel just made a joke, but, okay, so the moth is doing something relating to frequency black. So, and that's the thing. Synchronicities, frequencies, but it's all because of your brain. I'm going to tell you right now, and the REM, the subconscious mind, is definitely something to study. So you have to study the subconscious mind if you want to find out what you've attracted into your life and how you've attracted it. So if you're in a particular situation, it's probably because of your thinking 3 months ago. It's not probably, it 100% is. So beliefs that we carry, who we are, who we're becoming, it's simply because we are attracting exactly what we are. So if you're putting out complaining, you're attracting more complaining. You're literally bringing more complaining to you. So that's it. That's the entire thing. That's the entirety of it. So when's the last time you worried about, for example, financial abundance, bills, etc.? And when's the last time you've actually given gratitude for how much? I mean, find out the scales of what's being weighed more. Are you worrying more? Are you, even if you're not admitting to worrying, because every human worries, it's part of human nature. So, for example, some of my family who does really well, and let's just say some of my family who does really, really well on one side, they still worry, but it still manifests, even though they still do really, really well. It manifests. I know a lot of people who are not regular multimillionaires, but they still have to watch what they say or do because it'll manifest regardless. Not all of them are aware, but a lot of them are aware. Because the law of attraction does not discriminate. You can be a millionaire, or you can have $10 million, but if you use $9 million, you have $1 million left. If you use 10, now you have nothing. This world is interesting. It's just, I'm literally smelling money on the wind. I'm at the beach and I'm spending money in the wind. Like literally actual money. I hope your hands are itching, guys, because I've been studying something that's going to change your lives. I always look for new ways to help people, and I'm like, okay, people want to win the lottery? Oh, fine, I'll study. I'll go in depth, and of course, so multiple people are able to replicate it. Especially for people who have custom necklaces from me, I teach you things that I've been studying. What I'm studying now is something I've been studying for years, but I'm starting to reveal it. So it's just frequency. It's just your brain. It's just your mind. Just your mind. That's it. It's just your brain. That's it. So like, oh no, what about this outside yourself? Oh, you can move the money towards it. No, it's just your brain. It's just your brain. I'm gonna say it a couple more times. Anything that has to do with abundance is just your brain. So that's why and someone made a good point when I taught this to them today. I'm getting excited. Why do you think there's so many subliminals on YouTube? Why do you think there's so many things about the subconscious mind? All you're doing is changing your brain. And that takes time. So people might do it for a week and then give up. Or they'll do it for a week and they'll see something different because they've actually manifested something different. It's just your brain. It's your spiritual brain, your physical brain, your emotional brain, and your mental brain. Or physical, spiritual, emotional, and manifestations of the brain. So really think about it. Really take time to think about it. So what are you feeding your brain? You have to ask yourself. So if you want to become, for example, the world's best bodybuilder or weight competitor, you have to feed your body. So if you want to become the world's, for example, best mega mind, you have to feed your brain physically, but you have to feed it spiritually as well. So that's the 4 rule that I made: physical, mental, spiritual, emotional. I change the words very often. So physical, spiritual, mental, emotional. Like I'm still coming up with I'm making a rule book here. So basically the universal laws that are there, but I have not really been talked about too much, or have been talked about too indirectly. I'm actually coming up with different ways to describe them. It's coming up. So the angel said it's fine to teach people that. Physical, mental, spiritual, emotional. Mental and emotional, kind of different in its way if you look at it. So your emotional body versus how you think mentally, they cross. I mean, it gets confusing because when it comes to manifestation, your mental is actually doing manifestation aspects, but it's being influenced by the emotional. I know it's getting complicated or confusing. I split it up into 4 categories because that makes it very easy for you guys, and it makes it very easy to teach. So I asked a question last video: what are you feeding your brain? What are you feeding your brain? So your brain is absolutely everything. So we actually have crystals in our brain. Our brain's computers. I'm going to talk to you guys about other lighting. It's not mine. It's just someone else's lighting on the sidewalk. But so when it comes to your brain, what's your brain doing? So, and I'd like you to ask, for example, I'll teach all these different aspects of how to attract abundance. So let's talk about it right now. You put citrine in the center of your home, and the home attracts more abundance. Is it because citrine's bringing abundance to the home? No. I'm going to explain that right now. Yes and no. The citrine, and this is a little complicated, but this helps people a lot. So follow me in this. So the citrine in the home does not inherently bring the home money. The citrine changes the frequency of the home. So it's the people who live in the home. The home's kind of like the castle. If the castle's weak, intruders are getting in. So when you have citrine, it changes the mindset of everyone in the home to being on the mindset that you need to attract money. It changes the brain. Citrine is the number 1 brain-changing crystal because it makes people feel warm, happy, confident, and grateful. What do you think you need to attract financial abundance or any kind of abundance? You need a very specific alchemy of tools being mixed together to attract a very certain frequency. Now, think about it like that. So any herb, any crystal you're using, any essence, all you're doing is changing the brain. It's just your brain. If you're doing anything outside of you, you're going to be on a long journey of just being kind of stuck. So anytime, for example, if you have a bunch of money oils, for example, and you switch them very often, you're like, oh, this is not working anymore. I'm going to address this right now. What if you use a crystal at first and you're like, oh, it's not working anymore. It's working, but you're fighting it more than it's working. So you're basically moving against it more than it's working. So it's kind of like when you put it on, there's a shock effect. Your system is shocked. It's kind of like a nutrient. So when you first take a nutrient that you've been missing for a while, you're kind of shocked by it. Your system is shocked. For example, I'll give you if you take really high, like a really good copper supplement, and that copper supplement is strong, it's going to shock your system. It's going to be a little bit too much. And you're going to be like, oh, what was that? And then you don't feel it anymore. So the same thing applies with citrine. It shocks you when you first wear it. You're like, okay, this is really strong. This is really strong. So you'll put the citrine on, it shocks you. You're like, okay, then you'll see abundance. And then it won't fade away, but you won't be as shocked by it. But it's in your aura now, so it's up to your mind because your mind is now overriding the shock factor, if that makes sense. So, in essence, you can wear every crystal in the world, but if you can't change your view on abundance, if you can't change your brain, nothing else will matter because your brain is it emits frequency to be able to receive information from this video. If you tell your arm to go up, your brain just sent a frequency through your nerves and to the rest of your body to make the arm go up. So what's the difference between, for example, okay, I'd like you to raise one eyebrow. Your brain just told your eyebrow to raise one eyebrow. I know. I make jokes, but so raise one eyebrow, raise one arm, raise one leg, raise yourself in your chair a little bit, raise your arm again, raise your bank account to $100,000 extra. If your hand started getting itchy, listen, if your hand started getting really itchy when I just said that, you just did it by accident. It's just the brain. It's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, because people want to rely on things outside themselves. On other planets, you can rely on things outside yourself, but not on Earth. God sets it up. So basically the word has the power to change everything. So the way you speak influences your brain. What you see every single day influences your brain. So feed your brain the right things. Feed your brain what you want to see. You can get the world's best gemstones from FloridaStoneman.com that change the way. Bingo! That's why I recommend the custom necklace. It's because you put it around your neck and it helps the changing of your brain. It changes your reality. That's one of the reasons a custom necklace or a necklace from FloridaStoneman.com is so life-changing. It literally changes your brain and it brings something completely different to you because it changes the way you feel. So it has a shock effect at first, but then over time it releases these traumas that block you from attracting abundance. So if you like your own custom gemstone necklace, DM Florida Stoneman on Instagram. And I actually do tutoring as well for people who get necklaces from me, and it's been a wild ride because I actually teach some people how to open some super cool gifts and unlock super cool new aspects about themselves, including attracting new abundance, which I'm actually studying really in depth. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.